Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
I call to order the meeting of the Finance Committee on November 11th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. First item of business is the approval of minutes. I'll need a motion on the draft minutes of the October 28, 2025 Finance meeting.
I move approval.
Someone didn't say, who says approve?
Micah.
Move to approve.
Okay, there it is. Okay, motion to approve by Elder Lettuce. Comments or questions? Seeing none, we can vote. All in favor of adopting the October 28, 2025 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 3, public appearances for non-agenda items. We don't have anybody in chambers or online to speak, so we will move on to item 4, Finance Director Report. Misty?
So there's a lot of information in the packet that I'll start with. So first is the write-offs. So we approved a new write-off policy last year. It was the first one the city had. And so last year, around this time-ish, we did a really big batch of write-offs of really old stuff. But we had told you at that point that there's a lot more coming as we're kind of working through what this process looks like. So there's another relatively large batch of write-offs that we are sharing with you at this point. Under our current policy that was adopted by council, we basically follow purchasing requirements. So if it's $5,000 or less and meet the guidelines that are in the policy, staff can write them off, but we report back to you as finance. If there's an individual one that's $5,000 to $25,000, we need to get mayor approval. $25,000 and above, we need council approval to actually do the write-off. All the ones that are in front of you now fall in that less than $5,000, that staff followed the guidelines and wrote them off, but are reporting to you so that you're aware. You'll see there's a bunch of them that are all prior to June 30th of 2019. And there's a couple other ones that should have been on the list last time, but were missed or done a little bit differently. So there's some nuances in there, but it includes mostly the court fines and then some people that have deceased in there. There's a couple of personal property taxes where they were not paid. Collection efforts have been unsuccessful. The business doesn't exist anymore. So those are in there. And then there's some on the list that are highlighted differently that says SDC stay. Those are ones that collection efforts have been successful that we're kind of working on a payment plan with. So we're not writing those off, but you'll see that those are included in that report too. So end of the day, we followed the policy. All of them are relatively small. It's a large dollar amount, but they're small individually. There is one big one that we are working on that's going to need a resolution through council. So you'll see that probably in 2026. It's been sitting on our books for a long time, but heads up that that'll be coming our way at some point soon too.
And is that coming through a resolution?
It will be.
Okay.
Yep.
Questions on this? Bill?
Not really a question, just for anybody playing along at home and wondering how we could have gotten to the point where we need to write off $500,000 worth of stuff. This does date back to 1989 for some of these. And I'll say the bigger dollar amounts are really from like 2002 onwards. So we're still talking about more than 2 decades of accounts receivable that are in the over 180-day bucket.
Yep. And so traditionally, cities would have a more routine process, kind of like what we're trying to do now, so it wouldn't get to this level. But because Fitchburg hadn't had it before, we're doing a lot of cleanup.
I think you can go on.
Okay. Also included in the packet are the 2024 annual reports for all of the active TIDs that were required to have the report filed with the state. I'm not going to go through all of the reports. We did have a joint review board meeting late last week, which is available on FACTv. At that meeting, Greg from Ellers, our consultant, Mike Zimmerman, and I spoke about each one of those reports and answered questions. The joint review board is comprised of all of the overlying jurisdictions, so they were there and present too. You'll notice some of the reports have a supplemental report that Ellers did. Those are the ones that are more active districts that have things going on. They wanted to spend a little bit extra money to kind of do that prospective view beyond what's just statutorily required. The couple of TIDs that are new or very dormant, we didn't want to spend that money since there's not activity to report. So then all that's included in there is that statutorily required report that I had to file with the Department of Revenue. So those are all in there. It's nice to get 2024 finally wrapped up. This is delayed. We originally were planning to do the required annual meeting with the amendment to TID 18, but the amendment to TID 18 keeps getting delayed, so we separated those out and just got this one done. So I'll pause if there's questions on those.
I did take a few notes on all of them and just kind of, what's the base, what's the increment, when is it closed, that kind of thing. And then there was the standard report. And section 5 in that standard report showed, future costs and future revenues. And in nearly all cases, the future revenue was significantly higher than the future cost. So tell us what that means in practical terms.
Yeah. So the bulk of that report is the history, what happened in the past. And then that section 5 you're talking about is what we think might happen between now and the life of the TID. And so I pull off from the project plan all future costs that may be occurring and all incremental revenue that may occur. So it's kind of like all in, everything possible happens. This is what it could do. Those are not necessarily real numbers. Those are pie in the sky, big picture possibility numbers. But yes, we do expect all of our TIDs to be successful. The city is very diligent about the processes and the policies and the agreements that we have to make sure that our TIDs stay successful and in the black overall.
Okay, so if the TID is scheduled to close in a particular year, but there's no more development happening, and we've collected enough increment to pay off all the project costs, do we close early at that point then?
Yep, generally.
Okay.
So there's some options. We
So
could
leave it
look at
open
doing
year
a
for the
donor
affordable
TID.
housing?
Exactly. We would definitely want to do that too. So yes, we kind of keep tabs on that, and then we'll bring forward a closure recommendation when the time comes. Ultimately, it has to be approved by council.
I'll just say the Board of Review meeting discussion on this was really helpful in understanding everything. So that would just wanted to make that comment.
Yeah. If I may, it's Joint Review Board, which is separate than Board of Review.
Joint Review Board. That's what I meant.
Yep. No other questions there. I have one other thing to report. So some of our property tax collection numbers are starting to roll in. So I don't have all of them, of course, but wanted to share a couple of the ones that I do have. So all of the numbers I'm going to share is based off of that average home, just because it's the easiest way to kind of compare year over year. So the Oregon School District, their portion of the tax bill for the average home is going to go up 3.1% or $142. The Verona School District, 6.2% or $330. I don't have the Madison School District yet. City of Fitchburg, yes, we have to pass our budget tonight, but none of the amendments that were proposed impact property taxes at this point. So we expect our share will be a 3.1% increase or $83. And the Dane County I don't have yet. And then the last one I do have is MATC or Madison College. Their share is going up 2.2% or $7. So we continue to have numbers rolling in. I also don't have first dollar credit, lottery credit, school credit, all of those things yet. Things are starting to roll pretty soon. I should have a real firm number for you. Maybe not the next meeting, but definitely the meeting after.
And then when do we plan to have property tax bills go out?
So they're statutorily required to go out the third Monday of December, which I think is the 15th this year. We usually shoot for about the 12th, try to be in that kind of ballpark.
Great. Go ahead.
That's it.
That's it. All right. We'll have plenty to talk about the budget next, so
Yes.
at the next meeting. So next on our agenda is 5, review of bills. First is detailed review of all checks issued, checks 129445 to 129542 from October 16 to 31, 2025, totaling $2,620,195.09. Comments or questions here? Bill?
I was interested to know whether we have an alligator infestation. I see there's a $4,200 check to Heartland Ecological Group for herptile survey and relocation. What is that about?
Hey, Chad, do you know anything? No? Hey, Tim, do you know anything? I don't know. I will find out. So you said it was, oh, here comes Tim.
Yeah, that's for our dredging projects. So since we are proposing to do them over winter, when the reptiles are hibernating, we had to catch the frogs prior to and relocate them out of the ponds that we're dredging. So this was something that came up in discussion. City of Madison has done this for the last couple of years over winter. So this was the first time we were trying it in this time frame. So that's what that is for.
So is that, you're targeting frogs, but I imagine there's probably turtles in there as well. And
yeah, the turtles were also relocated. Ben actually has the numbers. I can get those numbers from him and record at Board of Public Works what they found. They believe went out there twice.
cool.
Please do report to Board of Public Works, and then Bill can tell us what happens at council.
Do they store them in your office?
No, they get relocated to a different pond in the city, and they don't go back to where they were caught, is what we were told. So,
Wow. That is not what I expected this discussion to be. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
Thanks, Tim. Other questions? All right, we can move on to 5B, detailed review of all ACH payments from October 1 to 31, 2025, totaling $669,398.63. Comments or questions? We can move on to our action items. First item is 6A. I'll need a motion on resolution R18525, amending the 2025 TID closure fund and cemetery fund budgets for park projects.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer, and I think our assistant director, no, deputy administrator. I'm having a day.
You didn't
Adam.
you didn't say parks, so I'm real happy with
I
that.
didn't say parks.
Should I give an update on this or some background?
Yes, please.
So there's actually 3 items in this budget amendment. The first portion of it is an amendment of $9,500 from TID closure for repairs at Hugo Jamestown's Park. So if you've been out there, maybe you haven't recently, but the columns are starting to have some paint chipping off them, so they need some work. And the second part is as you look up towards the ceiling, there's a wood panel up there, wood kind of slats like we have in this room here. They're starting to get mildewy and they're starting to show some potential rot in there as well too. So looking at some maintenance work out there. The second item was not included in the 2026 budget, so we looked at doing a TID closure, using TID closure funds for park rules signs. That's be $7,500. We need to update our park signs, and they haven't been updated in a while. This money probably is not enough to get to all our parks, but at least we could hit some of the major ones and kind of get this project started. And then lastly, there's an amendment to the cemetery fund to replace the sign out at Oak Hall. The woodpeckers got to that sign, and so currently there is not a sign there because there are so many holes in it. So we're looking at replacing that, and that funding would come from the cemetery fund balance. We didn't have any money budgeted here in 25. That's non-levy. That's the money that's paid when someone buys a plot in the cemetery. So looking at an amendment for that. As part of the 26 budget, we do have maintenance funds allocated to the cemetery. So hopefully we don't have to come back here again if something else breaks or we have a problem out there. So those are the three items. The first two are from TIG closure. The last one's from the cemetery fund. Any questions?
Question. Mike.
Are we building a different type of sign for the cemetery so the same thing doesn't happen, or?
Well, it's going to be on brand. I think it's more of the composite type material, so it should be more resistant to woodpeckers. I mean, you never say never, but
Never count out the woodpeckers. Yeah.
It was an old sign, so I mean, we got our money's worth on that. But this will be a more branded sign with the typical material.
Has our new parks manager started?
Sure has.
All right. Yay.
That's right.
Hopefully we'll see them sometime soon. All right. Seeing no other questions, we can vote. All in favor of resolution R18525, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, I'll need a motion on resolution R19525, approving the purchase of 2025 Mobark BVR 16 brush chipper.
I move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Lattice. Tim?
Thank you. The Parks Equipment Replacement CIP includes sufficient funding for replacing the 2013 Moorbark M15R brush chipper. LF George Incorporated provided a Sourcewell contract quote in the amount of $74,832.30 for a new 2025 Moorbark BVR 16 brush chipper. LF George also provided a trade-in price of $22,000 to use as a minimum bid at auction. If the city receives less than $22,000 for sale at the auction, LF George would accept the chipper as a trade-in. We're looking for council to approve the purchase of the 2025 Moorbark BVR 16 brush chipper from LF George Incorporated, and then also looking for council to approve the disposition of the prior asset to be sold at Wisconsin surplus with a minimum bid of $22,000 or traded in with LF George if the minimum bid is not received at the Wisconsin surplus auction.
Thanks, Tim. Questions? Pretty straightforward. We can vote. All in favor of resolution R19525, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on. To resolution, I'll need a motion on resolution R19925, supporting the levy limit adjustment for the increase in the joint EMS district assessed charges.
I move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Misty?
Thank you. This will be our fourth year that we pass a similar resolution. So levy limits are very constraining to us, but there is an adjustment that's available specifically for EMS and fire districts. In order to take that levy limit adjustment, each of the jurisdictions that participate in the district have to pass a similar resolution. I hear that both the Veronas passed theirs already, so we're the last one. And if we do pass this resolution, it means that the $231,000 that the EMS budget increased can be adjusted within our levy limit, and we don't have to absorb that within the rest of the city's budget. So it's a way that we've been able to strategically employ some strategies in order to stay within levy limits.
Annual thing that needs to get done. And the advantage of having a joint district with these other municipalities.
At least when inflation is high, yes.
Questions? Bill?
As I was reading through it, it looked like the assessed charges are up 4.69%, but the total expenses are up 8%. Are they eating into fund budget for that, or what?
The revenue increased quite a bit, was the bigger piece of it. So their call volume has been increasing, so that has caused an additional amount of revenue. And then also some of the pass-through charges have been, the collections have been higher than what they've been in the past. Mm-hmm.
Seeing no other questions, we can vote. All in favor of resolution R19925, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, I'll need a motion on resolution R20125, authorizing acceptance of the 2025 stormwater utility facility maintenance bid.
I'll move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Lattice. Tim?
Thank you. Stormwater facilities require periodic maintenance to function as intended. City staff identified 2 facilities, the Corey Hill Pond and Techland's infiltration basin, that require maintenance work. The 2025 Stormwater Utility Facility Maintenance Project was advertised by legal notice in the Wisconsin State Journal on September 29th and October 6, 2025, and posted on questcdn.com. On October 16th, 3 virtual bids were accepted. RG Houston Company Incorporated is a qualified contractor that submitted the lowest bid in the amount of $773,157, which was found to be in compliance with the bid specifications. The stormwater facility maintenance project is budgeted for in the capital improvement plan, and the 2025 maintenance project will be completed using funds allocated for 2025 as well as unspent funds carried over from 2024. We're looking for council to accept the contract with RG Houston Company in the amount of $811,814.85, and that includes a 5% contingency.
Thanks, Tim. Questions? And this will be done over the winter?
Yes, so December to April, we're giving the contractor the flexibility to kind of work it into their schedule. And then also it's with pond dredging with a kind of the frozen ground, it's more beneficial so stuff doesn't have to be restored as much.
Interesting. I would not have imagined.
Is this where we move the frogs?
Yes, this is the 2 ponds where the frogs and turtles were removed. No alligators.
All right, any other questions? We can vote. All in favor of resolution R20125, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Tim. Moving on to 6E. I'll need a motion on resolution R20225, amending the 2025 general fund budget for fire vehicle maintenance.
I move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer, and Chief Sarver's here with us.
Yes, this is another bad year for fire truck maintenance. So this budget amendment is to move some funds around to be able to cover our overage and projected overage for the remainder of the year. Pulling from 5 different accounts that you see there, totaling $18,600 to hopefully cover those costs throughout the end of the year. And hopefully we don't have to come back and move any more money around.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. When it rains, it pours.
Yes.
Other questions? All in favor?
Oh, just one.
I'm sorry, Michael. Yeah.
I should have looked this up myself. Did we change the budget for next year for this
We
account?
did add
Okay.
$10,000 for next year.
Okay, good.
Well, yeah, so how is our fleet doing in terms of aging and, its need for maintenance? Do we foresee at least this much maintenance required next year, or are we hoping to not?
Some of the items we're hoping not to experience next year. Obviously, we'll have issues with the heavy vehicles traveling around the roadways in the way that we have to travel sometimes. But we're hoping that and I shouldn't say this out loud, but we are hoping that we can stay within our budget limit next year. But it's, and a lot of this stuff, and I talk to Misty about it all the time, is it's not optional, right? If we get that thing running again and going out the door. So it's kind of tough with timelines and cost and, that efficiency you can do with, doing things all together versus multiple trips, right? So we're really working on that. But we're hopeful that we can stay within that. Many of the fire service vehicles are, by age, and type of vehicle, they rate it based on maintenance per mile. So we can investigate whether or not we're within those normal ranges from our manufacturers.
Well, I mean, we've got the capital improvement plan specifically for asset management like this. It's just a question of, is it going to be 2 years lead time this go around, or is it going to be 5?
Well, our manufacturer, which is, has the market share and is located in Wisconsin, actually, Pierce, they're trying to adjust to this market. by producing like spec vehicles that they're going to put in their line each year. So some of those vehicles would be available in a much shorter timeline and potentially less expensive in some ways. So we look for, that's going to start next year. So we look forward to bringing you more information on that next year and seeing, if that fits as far as what we're experiencing maintenance-wise and all the other factors we need to take into account financially. So we're definitely exploring options, though.
All right, seeing no other questions, we can take it to a vote. All in favor of Resolution R20225, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thanks, Chief. And next, I'll need a motion on Resolution R20325, approving Budget Amendment 1 for Sighing Road Phase 3.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Lattice. Tim.
By Resolution R-07-25, the City of Fitchburg approved the construction oversight and inspection of this project to the Wisconsin Department of Transportation and accepted the award of the construction project to Rock Road Companies Incorporated. During construction, the contractor encountered an unforeseen condition with the existing soils through the marsh area and existing roadbed where the new roadway and stormwater pond will be constructed. To stabilize the subgrade for the new roadway and stormwater pond, additional select crushed material and common excavation was necessary. By Resolution R-111-25, the City of Fitchburg previously approved Change Order 1, swapping the select crushed material for the breaker run originally listed in the contract. However, additional select crushed material and common excavation was necessary after change order number 1. The labor, equipment, and material cost for this work is approximately $450,000, of which $215,000 is for roadway improvements and $235,000 is for stormwater improvements. The $215,000 for roadway improvements is available in the project fund. Of the $235,000 for stormwater improvements, it is available in the stormwater street resurfacing fund. So we're looking for council to approve the use of the additional $215,000 for roadway improvements on this project, and then looking for council to amend the 2025 stormwater utility fund budget to redirect that $235,000 from street resurfacing to the Sighing Road reconstruction project.
Thanks, Tim. Questions on this? Bill?
Yeah, so I think the reason we have some funds available in the road construction project is because we had some bids that came in a little more favorable than we were expecting. How do we sit overall on the entire budget for Sighing Road?
For Sighing, we're still under, specifically for this project, when the bids came in from Rock Road, I believe this one was about 18% under the engineer's estimate of probable construction cost. So overall, we're still doing good underneath what was budgeted in the CIP.
Other questions, Micah?
And then how much is left in that stormwater fund after we take out the, what is it, 235,000?
I believe I spoke to Ross earlier this week, and it was about $15,000 to $20,000 is left over in that project or in the street resurfacing, and kind of what we've been averaging the last couple of years is about $15,000 for that.
Other questions? Seeing none, we can take it to a vote. All in favor of Resolution R20325, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Tim. Next, moving on, I'll need a motion on Resolution R20925, approval of an agreement for payment between the City of Fitchburg and Sustain Dane for implementation of Phase 2 Project 4 funding source change of the Efficiency Navigator program, and this is a direct referral.
I move approval.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer. Who's going to handle this one?
Joyce is. I believe you're online, right, Joyce?
Yep, I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, great. Well, I was just going to offer up that I'm in sunny Florida and I could bring back an alligator to help with the movement of the frogs and the turtles if you'd like.
I think
just need to know what size to look for.
Yeah, I think we'll pass, but thank you for the offer, Joyce.
Okay. Okay, well, you know, I'm always looking for ways to save $4,200. So this resolution is an interesting situation. So as you're aware, we had engaged with Sustained Aim to do the Efficiency Navigator program. And during the time that we engaged with them, we were made aware from the city of Madison that they were going to apply for a community change grant through the EPA. And that grant was specifically for the things that Sustained Aim were already doing, the weatherization and energy updates for the low to moderate income residents. So we signed on with them and we were awarded to $20 million. So we proceeded to separate the projects and leave out the ones that were in Southdale because that neighborhood was the one that qualified for the community change dollars. Well, as you're aware, Sustained Aim started doing the work and then the dollars were clawed back. And so what we are proposing is to take this funding that we have left from contingencies and some windows that we are not going to be doing into projects and making Sustained Aim whole for the work that they did in Southdale already, that we were going to pay them with the community change dollars. Does that make sense to everyone?
Absolutely. Questions for Joyce? Seeing none, we can take it to a vote. All in favor of resolution R20925, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Joyce.
Thank you
And
very much. We really appreciate it. You bet.
Thanks for being present, Claire, for questions. Next,
Sure.
Have a nice night. Next, I will need a motion on resolution.
You too.
Next, I'll need a motion on resolution R21125, approving a copier lease for City Hall third floor workroom.
Move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Latisse. And our IT director, join us. Nice to see you. It's been a while.
Nice to see you all. Thank you. So this is a copier that we have on the third floor in the workroom, and its lease came due in October of this year. And we're basically moving this forward with an ongoing contract that we have negotiated after we went through a print assessment. And so this is simply moving this copier onto that lease. It will allow us to, not obviously, but it will allow us to have some cost savings from what we're paying to date and consolidate our billing onto one contract.
Sounds good. Questions about this? Seeing none, we can vote. All in favor of resolution R21125, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice and easy. Next, I need a motion on resolution R21225, Wisconsin Independent Networks WIN contract renewals, and this is a direct referral.
I move to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Jetzer.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
Similar situation where we are operating on a month-to-month situation with these contracts, and they termed some time ago. Signing a contract with them allows us to obtain a better rate and save cost. Approval for those items.
Questions from the committee? Can I just ask about the direct referrals? Is this something that just came up quickly and needs to be voted on urgently?
I put that in as a referral more to keep on with my timing more than anything else. I didn't want to linger towards waiting till further in the year, and I wanted to actually just get those in. I also need to bring them to another committee that I sit on as well to make sure that we have that kind of settled before the end of the year, because as you guys are meeting in December, we only meet once a month, so our next meeting will be on Monday, actually.
Got it. Sounds good. Other questions? We can take it to a vote. All in favor of Resolution R 21225, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much. We are at the end of our agenda items. Next item is 7 announcements. Next finance meeting will be November 25, 2025. Anything else?
I'll just add, I'm not going to be at that meeting. Chad agreed to cover for me. So if you have questions in advance, please reach out to him.
Great. Thank you. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned at 6:05 p.m. Thank you.